I can't think of a time when I haven't done remote facilitation. That's the thing. Have you been in a situation where you've always been able to just do face-to-face facilitation?
No, I mean, I think just the nature of a lot of the companies I've worked at, and it's probably the same for you, there's some distributed, whether it's there's just another office or something like that, we're having distributed teams, or even just the fact that people can work from home a lot more now. I think it's something that's becoming part of our natural day-to-day lives, but to suddenly be completely remote all of the time
Yeah.
and not knowing when you'll come back, I think is a sort of different circumstance. And I've been talking the last few days, I've had people reach out to me at my current client who have never had to work from home before. And then what do I do with my team?
Yeah.
So I think it's very good that we talk about this now.
Yeah. And yeah, that's something I hadn't considered really. It's okay doing it every now and again. It's different when you have to do it all of the time.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah, and then I think the first instinct at this time is probably to think, oh, we should just cancel it.
Yeah.
In fact, I had a thing the other day where we did just cancel it. We had this community thing that we always did. Actually, my Women in Agile, we had our meeting, and it was funny because it was ironic really, because it was about having tough remote conversations with Judy Rees, and our venue, very understandably had to not host us anymore, and so we switched to remote. And do you know what? It actually worked amazingly well. In fact, it was better for the topic.
Yeah.
But if you're creative and you think about it, and the thing is that I think when you're in this kind of difficult situation, people will rally together and pull together, and so we've all got that common goal. Like, how can we make this still work?
Yeah, no, it's very true. I have been in a situation at one point working with a collection of people, a group where no one was based in the same location. I wanted to do a face-to-face set, or at least one face-to-face session. Just didn't work out. So yeah, I found that then, knowing that I didn't want to cancel it because I wanted to get people having the conversation together, and then feeling that there was there's an opportunity for a bit of innovation, a bit of growth, trying something different, experimenting somewhat. I think it was a good kind of growth opportunity for me.
Yeah, I think it's possible to have the same level, so it just takes a little bit more effort. So when you're not in the office, you're not organically overhearing each other, you're not able to just stop at people's desks. So I think the first good step here is to have that conversation in your team. How do you want to still do those things? But also build in some social time. So everybody's going to feel a little bit isolated. Maybe make your normal meeting 10 minutes longer. So at the start, you have a conversation about what's going on, and just chill out, have that social time so people feel a bit more connected, because it's not happening naturally like it normally would.
So if you're in a situation where this is new and you are going to challenge yourself because you want to kind of make remote facilitation work or remote conversations work, for some teams that would result in a change to their working agreement.
Yep.
I think this is maybe when working agreements are put together and when teams are first formed and this wasn't part of the conversation, perhaps an opportunity for people to reflect on how they work, how they are working as a team, and how they can work as a team, and do the rules stay the same? Do they agree that they have 10 minutes of conversation where you're just kind of reintroducing yourselves to each other, or breaking the ice in some way, lining up the topic, just to give a level of connectedness. It's probably wise for people to reconsider how they have worked previously, because what works in person may not work remotely.
Yeah, and sometimes it's harder, sometimes you end up talking over one another, and sometimes it can be hard to get heard because somebody's talking and you're like, oh, I've got a really good idea, I want to say something, and then you wait for the break and then talking, but then someone jumped in front of you and you're like, so designing how you want to deal with that kind of situation. Actually, it was at a virtual open space around the other day. A colleague of mine gave me a great idea that he just does with his team anyway. So normally in a lot of our video platforms, there's also a chat component. And so he said what his team does is, when you're in that situation where you've had a great idea but there's no break, you just type very quickly or just say, I want to talk next or something, or even just a single letter would do if you don't want to distract from the conversation. But it almost creates a cue for like who's going to talk next. Yeah. And I thought, what a great idea.
Yes, something popped into my head when thinking about previous experiences of doing this, that I've always worked with teams who are based out in India. And people often thought the reason why the people in London at times didn't get along so well with teams in India because of cultural differences. And I was always very firm. I don't think it is a cultural difference. I think a lot of the problem is
the easiest thing to point the finger at.
Oh, exactly. I mean, it's because people think that people think we're just different types of humans for some reason, that we have different life experiences and we do live in different cultures. But there are some things that bind us, and what I've always found to be so successful is that building of trust. Is getting to know people, and once you get to know people, that trust and that relationship can transcend any cultural boundaries or barriers. So that's why that social time, getting to know each other, don't get stuck straight into the transactional stuff. Actually find a way to connect. Very training from the back of the room style thing. But I think thinking when you're starting a remote session, to find ways to people to connect to each other and connect to the topic, and using the tools available to enable those small group or one-on-one conversations, which isn't in a meeting room. It's easy. You can all have separate sidebar conversations, and it's kind of nice. It's a sign of a good, healthy team if they're all on topic and there's multiple conversations happening. And so with the tools that are available to us now, it's becoming more of a reality.
Yeah, and I think trust is the biggest component, especially just remote working in general. You have to trust that people are actually doing their job. But I think what a good tip would be for people at the moment is ensuring that if we're talking about our agile teams, normally they're having their daily stand-ups anyway, but just making sure everybody's got really clear goals, so they know exactly what to work towards, and maybe even try and make the goals smaller than you normally would, so people are feeling more achievement and happier. And I actually would maybe advise adding an extra stand-up in.
Yeah.
So if you've got a morning stand-up, add in an after one, just so there's that extra contact point where people can ask for help.
Because the transaction cost of interaction is much higher if you're not physically in the same location.
Yeah.
Like how people feel, right? and people's emotion side of it, and how people deal with this mentally.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think it's like, I like working with people because you can pick up on shifts in mood, and you can tell if someone isn't right, and I think someone isn't feeling themselves or is struggling in some way, and you can pick up on that. You can see someone withdrawing, or you can kind of pick up on the fact they're not fully engaged. And I think it's easier for that to be hidden when you're not in the same location and you're not kind of experiencing it. And it's easy for people to be on a call when they have the option for video and not turn it on because they don't feel confident or they don't feel comfortable that day. It may not be a forever thing, but maybe just that day. And I think we can all do well to remember that if we are all being asked to work all remotely, and we are talking about social distancing, and we are sociable creatures, right, who enjoy community and enjoy connectivity, then that can affect people's mental health, and it can affect how people feel.
And people might have relatives that are sick, they might be worried about different things, because there's a lot more pressure going on now than normal.
People are carrying a lot more baggage right now, and increasingly we can. As adaptable as we are, these initial days, these initial weeks and months are going to be very tough for people. So the only, like, if I was to offer, if I can't offer a tip, but I know that what I would like is for, just for me personally, if you feel that someone isn't feeling right, you feel that someone isn't themselves, just pick up the phone. Maybe even don't worry about the video if they don't want to do it on video, but just have a conversation, connect to them, right? Because I think it is more important now more than ever that we put extra effort in to maintain that connectedness, not only with our teams, right, but with our loved ones and our families too.
So thanks for watching today. Really hope that you've got some tips out of this, something that can be useful to you. But Ben and I are actually focusing really hard at the moment on putting material together to run a remote facilitation workshop to help even more people, and we've got a free webinar coming up in the next 10 days or so, and we'll have more details on that for you soon. And
in the meantime, if anyone wants to talk, got questions for us, got ideas, feedback, things you'd like to hear us talk about next, please drop us a message, get in touch somehow. You know how to find us, and we'd love to hear from you. You're right on this sofa.
Right here. Okay. Bye.
Bye.